When I announced my decision to become a painter, I remember the laughter filling the room louder than my own voice ever could. "A painter?" my older brother had chortled. "That's not even a real job." My father, sitting in his usual armchair, shook his head with an expression caught between disappointment and disbelief. "Stop embarrassing us, Aaron. Why don't you think of something that matters?" I felt the sting of their words, a bitter and familiar taste, burning the back of my throat. I stood there, surrounded by my own family, feeling smaller than ever. Their sneers served as underlines to their skepticism, boxing me into the familiar category of being an insignificant dreamer. But standing there, I felt something stir deep inside me. A resolve, born out of humiliation, was beginning to take root. That night, I shuffled back to my room, my sole sanctuary within a house that no longer felt like home. There, under the dim glow of a table lamp, I made a decision. I would leave. Prove them wrong, not out of spite, but out of the need to find my own place in the world. And so I packed up, armed with little more than a brush and dreams deemed ridiculous by those I cared for. I moved to a city thrumming with energy, a sprawling metropolis that offered anonymity and possibility in equal measure. My studio apartment was modest, just enough room for a bed, a cracked easel, and my clustered tubes of paint. The nights were long and filled with an incessant drumming of self-doubt against my temples. Still, beneath the layers of exhaustion, I discovered the warm hum of determination. My days were occupied in the rhythmic dance of colour and canvas, punctuated only by the necessity of menial jobs that barely paid rent, but bought me the freedom I so craved. The struggle stretched weeks into months. Many times my darkness almost became all-consuming, threatening to swallow my dreams whole. Yet each dawn I rose anew, pushing against the tide of discouragement, guided by the spark that had ignited during that family confrontation. I began to understand resilience and patience in ways that life within my hometown had never taught me. And then, one winter evening as snow whispered against my window, I clicked send on a submission I'd worked tirelessly on for an art exhibit showcasing emerging artists. The reply was swift and unanticipated. "We are delighted to inform you that your work has been accepted for exhibition." 9 simple words that changed the course of my life. What followed was a blur of unveilings and critiques, culminating in sales that did more than support my existence. They nourished my soul. Years passed with the gentleness of flowing water. My art grew a following, a distinct voice recognized in wide circles. Recognition came creeping through, not at all like the jackhammer of public celebration one might dream, but as a gentle, reassuring whisper that made the toil worthwhile. Returning home was a spontaneous decision. I longed for closure, not so much from seeking validation, but from the need to share who I had become. Armed with canvases now known across cities, and an inner peace I had long assumed unattainable, I approached the house, a place that held echoes of taunting whispers and skeptical glances. The doorway, once so imposing in its familiarity, now seemed to invite rather than repel. I was surprised when it simply swung open at my touch, and the hallway stretched before me, framed in dusty sunlight. My brother was the first to notice, his expression freezing at first as if anchored by disbelief. "Aaron," he said, voice wavering as memories of the past slipped through the present. I stepped further inside, greeted by fleeting moments of awkwardness that soon softened as my presence was acknowledged by each family member. It was not the grandeur of my success that startled them, but the ease and contentment etched now upon my face, a portrait of dreams fulfilled that their mockery had unwittingly nurtured. And there, amidst unshared cups of coffee and sunlight filtering through the living room window, my father approached, older and quieter, carrying the weight of years gone by. "We were wrong," he admitted, his voice a fragile bridge between regret and understanding. The words hung in the air, a quiet testament to the transformative power of perseverance. A pause ensued, not one of silence but of shared understanding. In that moment, all barriers built and fortified through time crumbled to dust beneath the forgiving passage of time. As I left that evening, the shadows no longer clung to me like before.